Well, guys, today I'm really excited to bring you this small batch bourbon review, specifically from K-Luke and their small batch bourbon whiskey. Is this going to be one of the next small batches that everyone seeks out? Let's talk about that today on the My Bourbon Journey Whiskey Review channel. Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. Like I said on the intro, today we're taking a look at the K-Luke small batch bourbon whiskey. This guy's coming in at 100 proof. It is a blend of two different mash bills coming from the state of Indiana and Kentucky. So it's both a high rye and a low rye bourbon. It is non-age stated and has an MSRP of $90. So as you can see, a pretty nice kind of medium plus copper type of color. Move the whiskey around in the glass a little bit. Great oils on there so far. Again, it is non-chill filtered. Beautiful, beautiful legs on there so far. What do you say we dive into the nose? So right away, there's this beautiful like butterscotch kind of combined with this nice sweet, rich oak. Almost like a slight kind of dusty note, a little bit of that orange that's kind of starting to come through, maybe an orange zest. Nice dark chocolate note. Yeah, that butterscotch is more of like a Werther's candy, something like that. Rich, creamy, something along those lines. Beautiful baking spices. Little touch of black pepper on that. A little bit of a kind of like a nut bread, something along those lines. There's a little bit of that kind of hint of, I don't want to quite say pastry, but it's more of just like some type of like of a nut bread. Some really nice kind of vanilla characteristics to that, more of like a fresh vanilla bean. The rye spice starts to kind of show up. So that high rye mash bill starting to now kind of show up. Little touch of mint there right at the end. Even got a hint of like a roasted pine note. A little bit more of that sweet oak kind of coming through. Beautiful nose so far. Nice sweetness, nice kind of combined with that oaks, a little bit of that kind of nut bread. Really nice nose so far. And again, at 100 proof, it's really offering up quite a bit. So, all right, let's go ahead and dive into the palate. Cheers. Boy, so for me, right off the bat, nice big hints of butterscotch, cinnamon, nice sweet rich oak. It's very creamy on the palate. I'll even say a nice barrel char influence, not on the dry standpoint, but it's letting you know there's some oak that's there. It is a little bit on the sweeter side, so it's not wanting to dry out your palate or anything along those lines. Again, really nice kind of butterscotch, more of that Werther's candy, maybe like a nice fresh caramel, something along those lines. It seems to be so far very like well balanced. There's nice layers to this. It's very sippable is something I'd say. So if you're looking for just that nice tried and true, nice blended bourbon, this so far has that drinkability factor to it. Maybe a touch of a grain note there, not overly heavy or dominant or anything off-putting. I'd say there's maybe just a little bit of that kind of grain that's starting to kind of come through a little bit. Again, here comes a little bit more of the, I think the MGP kind of starting to show up in this a little bit. There's a little bit more of that orange, maybe an orange zest, something along those lines. A hint of like a nuttiness. And what I mean by that is more of like a cashew, something that seems to be more of like a creamier one. It doesn't have that like peanut or peanut shell. It's got more of this creaminess that's there to it, but with that slight kind of nutty profile. You know, maybe even like a macadamia nut. So if you're used to kind of, you know, eating some of those, you'll understand what I mean by just that kind of mouth texture that it's got and overall kind of flavor that it has. Definitely more of that orange zest kind of coming out. The one thing for me that stayed pretty tried and true all the way through is extremely mouth coating. It's very creamy on the palate. Again, maybe a little hint of that black pepper, but again, that Werther's candy, that Werther's like kind of butterscotch candy, definitely coming out. More caramel starting to come out again at this point. Again, more of that orange zest, nice, sweet, rich oak that's there without it being overdone or over oaked by any means. More of that lingering spice. That's been, again, something that's been there throughout the whole thing. But so far, I'm going to say for 100 proof, small batch bourbon, I think this is really hitting above its belt. I think it offers an awful lot more than the vast majority of other small batches, at or around that 100 proof point. I would say how this drinks, maybe even slightly above that. Not a heavy amount of heat, so it's pretty close to that 100, maybe 105 proof, but it offers an awful lot. I would say if this is something you can find, or you can't find their barrel proof version, this is a really nice alternative. Now, I did do a review of the barrel strength, so if you want to check that out, I'll have that linked in the description as well. That offers, again, just a little bit more of a ramped up version of this. But again, on its own, this is a fantastic small batch bourbon. Even say a little hint of some honey that's there as well. Just love the creaminess to it. Nice kind of like light to medium brown sugars. There again is that nice kind of sweet oak, more orange, more baking spice. Yeah, just overall, it's a really well balanced small batch bourbon. I think for, what it is that they've done with this, I give them an awful lot of credit. They've really blended a nice bourbon for everybody to hopefully enjoy. If this is something you've had or were looking for, I wouldn't hesitate to pull the trigger on this one. I think this is a really fantastic bourbon overall. It's easy to sip. It's got great texture, great mouthfeel, just very well balanced, and something that I think the vast majority of people who enjoy bourbon are really, really going to enjoy. So I want to say thank you so much for tuning into another one of my reviews. Greatly appreciate it. Again, this is the K. Luke Small Batch Bourbon Whiskey. If you'd like to follow me, you can on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of those places at My Bourbon Journey. If you'd like to help support the channel and become part of the Mash and Journey Whiskey Club, make sure you check out the link and other links in the description below. A lot of good stuff down there for you guys as well. So again, thank you so much. And remember, it's about the journey and not the destination. Cheers.